There was a time when boys were boys and men were men in America that they would attempt to get you to do good by telling you to love one another, love your enemy, don't judge, respect yourself, carry yourself in a certain way of respect. And that's gone now. And the country is encouraging anger. And they encourage you to be angry, and then they do things to make sure you act that anger out. That you act it out, because as long as you're acting it out, you're going to be in a fallen state, acting like an animal. And these people acting like animals because they don't know about self-control. They don't care about it. They don't know about it. They think that's it. They've been breeded in that way. And I'm like, wow, that is so wild to me. That's so interesting, because when I was growing up, black people were not doing this stuff, for the most part, unless they were doing it in the city somewhere. But you didn't see this. There were times when you could leave your home and then have to lock the door in black areas. That's gone now. They have turned totally to animals. And they are being encouraged to be that way by getting rid of bail bonds, letting them out of prisons and jails, offering them drugs and needles and all kind of stuff, telling them that the white man is their problem. And they're just in an animal nature. It reminded me of when I used to see this from South Africa, and it wasn't happening here yet. If it was happening here, it was like control. It was mostly in the black community, in the inner cities black community. It wasn't allowed to, for the most part, exception to the rule, it wasn't allowed to spread out amongst the decent people. It was like when you burn a fire, a controlled fire burn, it was being controlled because they had tough police and tough laws, right? And they moved all that away. Those animals broke out of the cage of the hood, and it spread it like wildfire. And if your eyes are not open about what's happening inside of you, you're not going to see it for what it is. They're going to call it something else. They're going to call it racism. They're going to call it sexism. They're going to call it Allah Abaism, or white supremacism, or anti-Semitism, or LGBTQ messism. But it's pure, unadulterated evil. The human heart is evil, and unless you want to understand that about your heart, you're not going to see what's driving you, and you won't understand what's driving others. And they're letting all these illegals into our country, my country, and other parts of the white world. And they allow these people to come in. They want them, they invite them in so they can bring a mass of destruction. And the more stuff you give the illegal aliens, the worse they get. They don't get better. It's like over the last 70 years, our government have given the blacks so much stuff. It didn't help. They're worse off today than they were 70 years ago, 60 to 70 years ago, give or take, when the government started catering to them. They didn't get better. It's like the homeless crisis. They spend buku money on homelessness, right? And they get on TV and pat themselves on the back. We're helping the homeless. And it's only gotten worse. There are more homeless now, so-called homeless people, than any other time in the history of America. This is from Breitbart. 3 refugees from the Asian country of Myanmar are facing charges after they allegedly killed and ate a beloved New Jersey swan. They are supposed to eat the swan. A beloved New Jersey swan, and in February, sheriff in Nebraska arrested two Honduran nationals found carrying a dead bald eagle. The two had stated they planned on cooking and eating the bird. Lord have mercy. Don't eat the eagle.
Come on, man.
The eagle is a symbol of strength to us. Don't eat. You're not in Honduras or Asia. And just something they eat all our nice birds. Watch this from WSYR.
We are following breaking news from Manlius police on the killing of one of the village's famous swans, Faye, and her babies being stolen from the swan pond.
3 teens, all from Syracuse, have been arrested by Manlius police for the killing of Faye and stealing her 4 babies from the swan pond here. This all went down at the Shop City Plaza earlier this afternoon in Syracuse. 18-year-old Aman Hussan and a 16 and 17-year-old are all facing charges of grand larceny, criminal mischief, conspiracy, and criminal trespass.
They believed that it was just a very large duck. They did not know that it was a swan, and they did not know that it was not a wild animal, that it was actually owned by the village Manlius. They were hunting, is what they told us.
It is unclear where Mama Faye was found. All we know is that it appears that she has been killed over the weekend. Now, I spoke with some neighbors in Manlius who come to the swan pond often, and they tell me they can't wrap their head around why this would happen.
No, it feels like they were maybe not only just harming the birds, but harming the community, which we absolutely don't understand.
I was kind of amazed that I hadn't noticed that they were gone, to be honest with you, because I was here Sunday and I was here Monday. And I hadn't even noticed they weren't here until I saw the news. And it's just sad. I don't understand why people would do it.
Now, quite a few people have stopped by here at the Swan Pond tonight. And as you could see, a small memorial with flowers has even started here at the village's famous.
They done ate up Faye. They facing charges for eating our beloved birds. They got Faye. And all Faye little children out of the pond, they went hunting. How you gonna go hunting in a pond where there are like drug addicts laying around and white people walking around looking and smiling about Faye, how beautiful she is, and some foreigners going hunting in that beautiful pond? Don't they know that if the bird was worth eating, that the drug addict would have already eaten the bird? The bird is right there. They got Faye and all Faye little children out of the pond. They were hunting all right. That's mind-blowing. Justice for Faye. No justice, no peace. For Faye, according to Breitbart, this bird, a local petition is urging justice for Faye. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean, justice for Faye? That's like the blacks saying justice for the blacks. What is justice? And the people are so insane, 8,883 people have signed the petition. Justice for a bird. America, what the problem? I'm still, I know I'm black and slow. I'm still not getting, even these foreigners, why would they think they're hunting in a little homemade lake in the park where everyone is hanging out? That's not hunting. Don't you know what hunting is? You go in the wood and hunt. Oh, no justice, no peace. They signed a petition. See how gullible people are? Shallow. Somebody had these people to sign a petition that says justice for Faye. Hands up, I can't breathe. Anyway, it's just getting worse. It was some group of people. It may not have been the gypsies. I think the gypsies may have been eating something else. So I think maybe the gypsies were eating. Maybe if I'm wrong about the cat, y'all know what the gypsies eat, and you have to lock them down at night when the gypsies are around. But it may have been something else, like dogs or something. But I forgot. It's been so long.
What a mess.
What a mess. But I don't see any gypsies anymore.
I would take out a gypsy if he came for Sandman.
Well, I know you would. A gypsy told me not to worry no more. A gypsy woman. A gypsy woman.
Oh, yeah, she's homeless. She's homeless.
Yeah. A gypsy told me not to worry no more. A gypsy woman.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Hank is here.
Star C on 30-foot wall says commercials. Almost all the commercials are black people now, Jesse. I don't get how they say white people are evil, but you see them with the white people in the commercial and outside of the commercial mixing with them. What is that?
Affirmative action at work. What a mess. And if they do have a white guy in a commercial, they have him with a black woman. And she has a fro. So you know who is the weak one.
Terrible.
Terrible. Thank you, Theon.
Greenwall gave a diamond on DLive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. Vietnamese ate up the ducks in the San Francisco parks. The San Fran parks.
What a mess.
Terrible.
Thank you.
Evil is still real says, why, Lord, why? Why Faye, Lord, why?
Justice for Faye.
That was on Rumble, a Rumble rant.
How you going to have justice for a dead duck?
Swan is not a duck, or is it? I think.
It looks like a duck.
No.
It quacked like a duck.
You ever heard the story, The Ugly Duckling?
Yeah.
It grew up to be a swan, right? Something like that?
I got it.
Because it wasn't actually a duck.
It walked like a duck. Thank you.
Now, what should I do?
Yeah, realizing that is all you need to do because God is forgiving you as you're realizing that they can help themselves. And I'm wrong for resenting them, and you'll be fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Amazing.
So I wanted to make a statement on the silent prayer, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So you know how you say you have to stay with it morning and night?
Right.
You are absolutely 100% right about that. Just from a living witness, just to give you a little background, I found you like about 3 years ago. I was living with my mom. Excuse me, and I watched one of your videos on forgiving your mothers, fathers, and all of that, and so I forgave her. And I forgave her before I even knew about the silent prayer, but then afterwards I found out about the silent prayer. And it changed my life completely. Even to this day, I don't identify with yesterday at all. It's the weirdest thing to even experience it, because, you know, your whole life you identify with, you know, thoughts and feelings and yesterdays and 3 years ago, 10 years ago. You blame yourself so much, but ever since I found you and God has allowed me into that life, I just can't look back. It's almost like the silent prayer. It really is God trying to pull you away from the darkness. And whenever I see other people now and how they behave, I understand that it's because they can't help it. They really can't. Am I making any sense?
100%. You are not supposed to have, and you're not given the right to have a decision about yourself or anyone or anything else. Anything. You're not supposed to have a decision about it. You're not supposed to judge yourself. You're not supposed to judge others, and you shouldn't be judging yourself. So I recommend that you not judge yourself as a Christian or not as a Christian, and just live your life and just be without any decision about judgment, because as long as you do that, you're going to be divided. Because if you say to yourself, I'm not a Christian, now you got to try to be one. And then when quote unquote become one, you say I am a Christian, then you're gonna fall away from being one. But if you don't have a decision either way, then you're not divided. You don't have to worry about that. You want to be whole. You don't want to be divided.
Mm-hmm.
So don't judge yourself either way. Just live your life.
From Evgeny Crosby with a diamond, Faye coming back to life as blacks for reparations.
Justice for Faye. Amazing. I was thinking about when they did that story, when the reporters were reporting that story about the people who killed Faye, got Faye. They said a group of teens. What? They didn't say a group of Muslims or whatever they were, right? A group of teens got Faye. If it had been some white guys doing it, a group of white supremacy. White supremacy got Faye. No justice, no peace. Hands up, I can't breathe. Not Faye, Lord, not Faye.
Star Sion says with yet another super chat. True story, Jesse. I grew up with half Arab, half Ethiopian neighbor boys. They were raising pigeons, and they cooked it and ate it in front of me one day. They offered me to eat it, and I said, heck no. So they love birds of any kind for some reason. LOL, lots of laughs.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I can't believe these folks ate the duck. I mean, the swan.
Duck is okay to eat.
Right.
Not swan.
But you don't want to eat the duck. Let's say that the duck
is somebody's pet.
Is someone's pet.
Or is the town duck.
Or the town duck. And the duck is in the town pool. You can't eat that duck, right?
Right, you should not.
You have to have a different kind of mindset to eat that duck.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Amazing. Thank you. That's crazy.
Like when Trump pardons the turkey.
That's right. You can't eat the potting turkey. There is, 10 women for every one man?
It sounds about right. 10 women for every man.
10 women for every man, for one man?
Roughly.
Are you serious?
No. No, they like slightly outnumber men right now, I think.
Yeah, they do.
But a lot of men are girly men nowadays.
That's why we got to stop the women from voting, because they're going to always vote the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the right way.
What's up with these angry guys at the gym, you know?
I don't know what happened.
How I went to her, I told her I forgave her.
You went to your mother and said, I'm sorry for resenting you. I forgive you.
Well, not in those exact words.
What did you say to her?
I just told her that, I forgive you for what you done to me and my brother from our childhood.
Nice. And what did she say?
She did the best that she could.
Right.
The traditional cop-out, I guess you could say.
And did you go to your father, forgive him for not protecting you from her?
I have never really told my father that I forgive him.
Why not?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's hard.
What's hard about it?
I tell myself I forgive him.
Is it easier to tell yourself that lie or go to your father and forgive him?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of hard to tell my father anything because he doesn't really want to spend time with me, or he's always too busy, or he's always working, and having those type of conversations isn't really something that we've ever been able to do.
So you told him, I want to get with you, I want to talk to you for a minute?
I have.
And he said, I don't have time?
Well, he doesn't say that. He'll just say stuff like, I'll do it whenever we can get together when I'm off next week, or, I work all the time. Like, it's always that cop out. So I've never really had an opportunity to have a deep conversation with him.
So you never get one moment with your father where you could just say, hey, I've been resenting you and I'm sorry?
No.
That moment never happens.
No, it hasn't.
And so does he live with your mother? He and your mother are together?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately? Why you say unfortunately?
Because, growing up, there have always kind of been a lot of turmoil and a lot of hate in our household.
Right.
From, childhood, I've always witnessed, physical and verbal abuse. And, my brother and myself were both told that, my dad couldn't wait till we were 18 years old so we got a house. And,
who told you that?
My father. He told us that pretty much every day of our life. So.
And why did he tell you that?
I think because he resented my mom.
And you guys.
And he felt stuck.
He felt what?
He felt stuck.
Yeah.
In the marriage, and he'd always tell us, I'm only here because of the kids, and we never really had that type of. We just never really had peace.
So did your brother identify with your mother?
Yeah, definitely an emotional individual.
You say you did identify with your mother?
Are you referring to his personality?
No, I'm asking that you and your brother identify with your mother and you took sides with her over your dad.
I would say yes.
Well, no wonder he couldn't wait until y'all get out of the house. He's dealing with three devils. You know that guy, Tim Scott, out of North or South Carolina, one of those places, and he is running for quote-unquote president. What the? A mama's boy. But anyway, Tim Scott was on The View. And prior to going on The View, they criticized him. He black. And they were saying that he was, Whoopi Goldberg, somebody said he was like Clarence Thomas syndrome kind of thing. And they really didn't like the fact that Tim Scott, in reality, they didn't like the fact that he's a black male. And whether you agree with him running for president or not is a different story, but the fact that he is running in the United States of America. And then people on The View, some of them at least, don't like that, right? And so they said these things about him prior to him going on The View. And he went on. I was surprised to see him on. I'm like, what the? But this is from Fox. On Monday, Tim Scott joined The View and criticized them over comments made about systemic racism. Whoopi Goldberg previously claimed Scott has Clarence Thomas syndrome. Watch this from The View.
We have some things in common. You grew up in a single-family household, single-mother household. I grew up with both of my parents, but raised in the Bronx projects amidst a lot of poverty and violence. And you are the first black senator elected in the South since the Reconstruction. That would be about 114 years. Yet you say that your life disproves leftist lies. And
Yes.
My question to you is, I'm the exception, right? You're the exception. Maybe even Miss Whoopi Goldberg is the exception.
Oh, she's definitely the
But we are not the rule. And so when it comes to racial inequality, it persists in 5 core aspects of life in the U.S. Economics, education, healthcare, criminal justice, and housing. At nearly every turn, these achievements were fought, threatened, and erased, most often by white violence. You have indicated that you don't believe in systemic racism. What is your definition of systemic racism?
One of the things I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show, is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on this show, that the only way for a young African-American kid to be successful in this country is to be the exception and not the rule. That is a dangerous, offensive, disgusting message to send to our young people today, that the only way to succeed is by being the exception. I will tell you that if my life is the exception, I can't imagine.
But it is.
But it's not actually. It's
been 114 years.
Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, we've had an African American president, African American vice president. We've had 2 African Americans to be secretaries of the state. In my home city, the police chief is an African American who's now running for mayor. The head of the highway patrol for South Carolina is an African American.
Still exceptions.
In 1975, there was about 15% employment in the African American community for the first time in the history of the country. It's under 5%.
40% homelessness.
And 50%
of African Americans.
50% of the folks in our community.
Yet 13% of the population.
You had the chance to ask. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest the fact of the matter is that progress in America is palpable. It could be measured in generations.
And one of the reasons we continue to have new exceptionalism is because every time folks make 40 steps forward, they get dragged 40 steps back. So how do we, as a
See how evil and nasty those women are? An exception. Who are those evil, nasty females? Whoopi Goldberg and that other dumb black woman there, whatever her name is. Just say they are the exception. Are you saying you're smarter than the rest of the blacks? Are you saying that you can make it but they can't? Are you saying you're smarter? Those are narcissistic women, females have I ever seen any. That woman and Whoopi Goldberg are evil. You're not the exception. Those who want to make it, whatever making it mean to them, they can in America. And anywhere else if they really wanted to. They are the exception. That's narcissistic, that's evil. The hearts are wicked, that's nasty. And they're trying to blame poverty and all that on the white man. First of all, black people are not living in poverty. They're living in spiritual poverty, but not physical poverty. They're fat as a pig. If they're hungry, why are they so fat? If they don't want to be in poverty, why don't they clean up their own house, their own neighborhood, their own paint the yard? The grass, the house, and cut the grass. How you going to blame white people for that? We are the exception. Narcissistic idiots. All puffed up and proud about nothing. See, blacks, they don't want you to make it, whatever making it is, right? The black people are doing exactly what they want to do. They want to be the way they are, so they keep themselves the way they are, and there's no one to blame but the individual. No one but the individual. Not one other people, one other person, one other reason, one other anything. And these people are not the exception, believe me. They're all she-devils. They're children of the lie. They don't want Justice Clarence Thomas and this guy, Tim Scott. They don't want them out there in the public saying you can do what you want in America. And then who they sit on their little dumb show and blame. And they have nothing else to talk about anyway but racism, which doesn't exist. But that's all they ever talk about. That's their life source. Black people, y'all need to turn away from these lies. Anyone that blames anyone as an adult and you blame someone else for your issue, you're weak and pathetic anyway. Only weak people blame others. I couldn't believe when I heard that dumb female say that. We are the exception. Oh, look at us. And just lying anyway. Don't Oprah have some money? What the? Black people against black people because it's about self. Narcissistic is about oneself. Anyone that has anger is a narcissistic person. Evil, pure evil. It's all the same. It comes from evil, by the way. Angry people are about self. And they don't want anyone else to do what you want in life. That woman, those two females, Whoopi Goldberg and that stupid woman, whatever her name that we're talking to, Tim Scott, are evil. No other word, evil. And the blacks keep falling for the lie. And you're out there killing one another, stealing white folks' stuff, following them home and attacking them and robbing them and carrying on. And they sitting on the stage thinking that they're making buku money, by the way. They're the exception. They don't really think that, but they keep saying that to keep you angry. And then one other thing, another mess, talking about he running for something. People Party, whatever that is. This from Politico. So-called scholar and activist Cornel West announced he's running as a presidential candidate for the party, the People Party. Watch this from Twitter and Fox.
In these bleak times, I have decided to run for truth and justice, which takes the form of running for president of the United States as a candidate for the People's Party. I enter into quest for truth. I enter into quest for justice. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins.
Dr. West, 749 cops, rocks, bricks, Molotov cocktails, 22 cops in D.C. hospitalized for concussions. We saw a 38-year police veteran murdered in St. Louis. We have a cop in Vegas shot in the head, 749. Do you support this madness of defunding the police?
Deeper issues of poverty, dilapidated schools, housing, shattered family communities, not enough jobs with a living wage, that generates a despair.
Professor, he's just giving me old talking points. I'll speak to you, Dr. Cornel West, black man to black man. There's looting going on, and you try to confuse. Refuse to address the issue because I'm talking to you. You're not my brother. You're not my brother. No, my brother. That stuff plays out. That plays out. Address the question. Do you? Oh my gosh! You have lost control. You're a dinosaur. You're an outright dinosaur.
And he want to run for the People Party? Lord have mercy, people. Y'all in trouble. He want to give you power, empower them. Whenever another human being tell you they want to empower you, they'll tell you, I want to use you. How a human being going to empower another human being? When power comes from God, the real power. And it's the power of God, it's not even the human being's power. So he lied about that. Now you see, he look like something wrong. The lights are on, but ain't about home. Justice for the people. He better be trying to get out there and help find justice for Faye. The duck needs some justice. The swan. And sign that list with the 8,883 people who want justice for Faye. He can't give you no justice. Look at all the anger he has. He doesn't even have justice for himself.
Yeah.
Have you gone and forgiven your mother?
I have, yes.
Oh, good. How about your father?
Yes, I have.
Nice. And you're doing the prayer?
Yes, I am.
Every morning, every night?
No.
What the? I thought this was an amazing story. This is from the Daily Wire. Mark Wahlberg, who is a Christian, was one of the many celebrities who made the exodus out of California over the state's countless problems. Watch this from Above Inspiration.
My father was a teamster and truck driver. My mom worked odd jobs. I'm the youngest of 9 kids. You know, because my parents worked so hard just to provide, I had a lot of time to myself, and most of that time I spent running around the streets, getting a street education. I left school at an early age. I quit school at 13. Ended up getting into a lot of trouble, being incarcerated, tried as an adult at 16, 17. And, you know, when I heard the jail doors close behind me, I started praying right away. But I knew that that was just the beginning for me because I knew I really wanted to turn my life around. And then once the dust settled and I was able to look clearly and I was sober for the first time in a while, I realized there were so many people around. So I had that to overcome, but I was committed to turning my life around. We are blessed to be able to have a fresh start every day. You know, you just got to be able to kind of have confidence in yourself and belief in yourself. I've seen so many wonderful stories of people who are, you know, kids up for adoption, and, you know, and they have multiple siblings in the youth services department or within the adoption system, and they're deciding that they're going to go and get an education on their own and go and take care of their family. And, you know, there's so many wonderful success stories out there. Just you have to believe and have faith and know that you can accomplish it and turn your life around. But I always feel like if I put my mind to something and I really do the work, I can accomplish something. And then if things don't turn out, because I live and breathe, and, you know, my primary business is based on a lot of failure and success, right? But it's never for lack of effort. And as long as I do everything I can to do my best, then I feel pretty darn good about the effort. And sometimes I win and succeed, and sometimes I don't. But I always felt like if I didn't do everything I could to prepare, then that's when I had regret. And that's when I felt disappointed in myself. And you know what? There isn't anything you can't accomplish with hard work and the Lord behind you. Wow, if I can, trust me. I should be a lot of places and I should not be here. So trust me, God is so good. Thank you, Father.
Amazing. And we all, me too, had a hard time starting out. When I first came out to California at 18, it wasn't easy. But there was nothing in me that said give up. All kinds of situations came. But I just kept pushing forward. And you can do the same. Have no excuses. I don't care what or who try to get in your way. You can do it, and keep it simple. Just do what's in front of you. Men, that's the way it is. You are created to be that way. Unfortunately, the parents are no good, so you have situations. You run into evil people that try to stop you. They want revenge. They're jealous, but that's their life. It has nothing to do with you. Be not afraid. God does not give us a spirit of fear. The one thing I can honestly tell you, from day one, I've just been me, doing my thing, just doing what's in front of me. And it hasn't always, even though I want to say it's not been easy, I don't know if I really feel that way. It just sounds like something to say. Many challenges will come, but you'll overcome them if you stay with them and don't hate. Don't get angry. And guys, it's abnormal, even if you have a job, because everyone can't be a business person, right? But you may have a job. You still can invest in your life. You can buy property. You can invest in this or that. The opportunity will come. And if you decide to get married or have a family, you bring your wife into your world, and your kids will be born in your world. It'll be a whole different thing. But if you don't want to have children or get married, you still have an amazing life. You'll be free. You were built that way. You were not built to complain and whine and beg and blame. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Situations are put there to help you to overcome, not keep you down. You were born an individual. You came in this world alone, you're going out alone. Why not stand alone? That doesn't mean you're not going to hang out, you're not going to deal with other people, but stand alone. Stand alone. Just like Mark Wahlberg is doing it, you can do it too. I have a little education from my little high school. I graduated somehow or another, they let me through. But my father, my grandfather was the example, so I just kind of patterned after them because they taught me to work and be responsible when I was growing up. I had no idea that anything I've done in my life the last 34 years, plus the janitorial service I had before, I had no idea. I just did what was happening. and let everybody think and say what they want. Give them the finger, and you live your life.